All right, guys, so what I want to talk to you about today is the concept of getting forward. I feel like this is a very important topic to cover, as it's something that, in my opinion, is done incorrectly a lot. So basically, what I'm talking about when I talk about getting forward is the relationship or the line between the middle of our head and the middle of our pelvis. And I'm looking at it in three different areas. So number one, as they stride out and they get into landing, what does that line look like? As they initiate rotation and get into contact, what does that look like? And then at contact, what does that line look like in relation to the ground and in relation to when they started rotation? So the reason that this came to my attention is, I've been seeing a lot of swings that either emphasize, turning the barrel or kind of pitching the scap, then holding that as they rotate, right? And a lot of times what I see in these swings are basically, if they're back here, right, holding the scap or, just trying to turn the barrel, a lot of times what I see is as they go to do that, their posture kind of takes a drastic change. So in my opinion, we want to control the center of our body, and then the kind of extremities will take care of themselves in most cases, right? So if we are thinking too much about our extremities and our center, right, this line here, as we rotate, just gets tilted way back, right, like right there, so that when we make contact, we're kind of out of line. I don't think that's giving us the best chance for success. If you think about barrel path in relation to that move, right, if you get a bunch of lean back, that's naturally going to take your barrel uphill, right? It's very hard to get that lean back and then still go and get a good attack angle that's, in the 2 to 16 range, somewhere in there depending on pitch height and what you're trying to do with it. But that lean back makes it very hard to achieve that. And I think this is kind of a result or a reaction to, a while ago we had too many guys that were emphasizing swing down, and now everyone is, afraid or scared, or I don't know what it is, but they don't want to say swing down, and with good reason, right? We don't actually want guys with negative attack angles swinging down on the baseball. But we also don't want guys with two positive attack angles, right? In the 22 to 25 or above range, because then that also puts them at a disadvantage. And I feel like that's what a lot of the, kind of instruction that is centered around this type of move, I feel like that's what is getting created for a lot of hitters. So that's kind of why I felt like this was an important topic to cover, because guys just seem to be afraid of actually getting forward and, kind of staying forward as they rotate. So the whole concept of getting forward is exactly that. We're going to look at it as we get into foot plant. So what's the line look like? And then once we get to contact. In my opinion, we don't want to consciously control how we're turning, right? This is kind of another reason that I don't agree with training this movement. This is something that, I myself have drills for and that I still use occasionally, but used to use a lot more, and I'm trying to get away from it. Because turning it shouldn't happen so fast that we can't consciously control it, right? We want that move to be quick and unconscious. If we have to adjust, to a two seam that moves an extra inch, more than we thought it would, right? We can't consciously control that adjustment. That needs to be a late reaction that just kind of happens as we're rotating. So I don't feel like training, our turn consciously is something that we necessarily want to do. So how I usually think about it, how I go about it, is trying to get them set up in a good position to rotate, so that when they go to initiate rotation, right, that line is in a good position. So for me, that's generally, either 0 degrees, so kind of straight up and down, or tilted back, right around maximum of about 20 degrees. I mean, I'm just kind of estimating here, but we don't want to be super extreme, tilted back again for the reason of our barrel path. So that's number one. Figure out how to get them in a good position when they land. And front foot elevated, rear foot elevated swings have been two things that I've used a lot to help guys get this feel to over exaggerate, whatever they might be doing incorrectly, so that when we take that elevation away, they can kind of feel themselves reset and shift to more normal positions in their actual normal swing. So that's number one. Number two is, if we don't want to consciously control how we rotate, then we need something at the end that we're trying to get to. So basically for me, it's being able to, kind of consciously feel what you want, where you want to be at contact. Because then we're initiating from a good starting position and we have an end goal, but how we get there isn't really within our control. So for this cue, the get forward and rotate while you're forward cue is generally for guys that as they stride out, they're getting too far back, or they've been taught to spin like this and lose that posture backward, right? So for them, we want to allow them, give them permission to feel getting forward as they stride out and then staying forward as they rotate. What a lot of guys will be surprised to find is that they can get forward and still feel like they're back if they're able to maintain that rear heel on the ground, then also if they don't allow this to internally rotate too soon. So basically when we allow this rear leg to internally rotate, that's kind of when we lose tension in that backside. So if we get forward and we just kind of ride out like this, we're obviously not going to be able to adjust to different pitches, and it's going to look like we're lunging because we're not holding any tension kind of back, in that rear side. So focusing on keeping the heel on the ground. Also, some guys, it helps for them to feel like they're abducting, externally rotating here, so that even as they get forward, right, they're still working kind of back, so that then they can get forward, and then when it's time to go, that's when they release and just let it go forward. Again, as they do that, they're not trying to snap themselves back, they're not trying to rotate too quickly and losing that posture. So that's, again, how I kind of think of getting forward, is set themselves up in a good position, get them into a good position at contact, and then let everything in between, in the middle, kind of take care of itself.